It's so the way that I describe Tree is like he's not your hard team fight. He's like your soft setup or your like
10
he
seconds
sure he has the
remaining.
overgrowth, but his ult always has to lead into something else.
5
It can't just be
seconds
like
remaining.
your overgrowth into then you need to have overgrowth and then some other type of stun, some other type of spell or damage source to really utilize that ultimate. If that's your only type of team fight, it's kind of underwhelming. So now that you have the Ravage, you have this kind of pairing where you have Overgrowth and Ravage, big AoE control spells, hard stun, root. So they have a nice amount of team fight now to match up against the Puck Magnus. It's
Ooh.
now they need to find a hero that can push out lanes, can provide them a way to prevent Empire just running. Oh, sorry, running at them.
I wonder if this might actually be Phoenix farm pick for FlyToMoon. They love
Ooh,
running the Treant Phoenix combo still.
yeah,
It's huge team fight. Does give you that shove out as you were talking about with the fast
it's
spirits.
all it's awkward lane push though. If they pick the Phoenix, then they are somewhat weak and very much like they have to play a good lane, which might be awkward, especially when you have the puck sitting behind this melee hero. You got this Batrider who can maybe run rampant in the early
Radiant
stages of the game.
scaling back.
Like
Hmm.
they don't have an answer right now to the Batrider. So it may be awkward if they pick this Phoenix. They're going to have no save. They're going to only have team fight. And if they can't team fight because they're underleveled moving into the mid game, if they have worse vision, worse map position because of the lack of like ability to push out lanes, then it would be very awkward. So I'd rather see them. Sure, they might pick the Phoenix if they can get over this hurdle, but
10
it
seconds
leaves a lot
remaining.
of room for Empire to punish. They pick another high tempo hero, and then
5
FlyToMoon might
seconds
struggle early
remaining.
on.
Yeah, I think my thought process was maybe like with the lifesteal being banned, especially in the PL, Edge plus Phoenix on our lane does bully pretty
Hmm.
hard, right?
Yeah,
And interesting enough, the farm ban being Viper, it makes sense, just an all around good bully. But also, I know the FlyToMoon do like to run it as a 5 still.
I
I
think
know
the
some
Viper.
teams experiment with it, but I think
Yeah,
they're the
I
only one
think
that still does.
yeah. In this situation, it's your damage source from Empire right now is very much your early game damage is magical. So if you have this Viper who can always TP to the fight, sit in front of
Radiant
the
team
tower and put
kill.
down his spells, he can be really annoying to kill. So it's just a good ban to stop them from being able to defend towers because that's the key thing right now. FlyToMoon need to have a tower defender lane pusher type hero. If they don't have this, they're gonna have issues, especially with Empire of last pick. And they ban out the Drow from FlyToMoon because they know that Empire they want to have tempo, they want to have this like pace set and the
10
ability to
seconds
go. And a
remaining.
Drow it unlocks your ability to take towers behind the aggression. You
5
have all these guys who are going to
seconds
be in front of
remaining.
you, right? Your Batrider's jumping in, Mag Puck jumping in. Drow loves the ability to sit at the back and just throw out spells, and especially if she's laning against an Ench or a Tree, it's like they're good heroes. But when you have a hero that's able to sit so far back, it's hard to really get the damage onto them.
Especially in Edge nowadays, now that you don't have your Untouchable as a passive accessible in the laner phase, you have to wait until 6.
Dire
Sure, it's a
team.
big spike at that point, but by that
Oh,
point, the
there's the
Drow's
Lina
winning the lane.
lane pushing hero. It works, and also a very classic iceberg hero.
There's still flex here though, because they could like likely the Ench is the support, but we have some teams that like to run it as the free. But I think you're right.
The
They
real
should
question
be
is what's
icebergs.
happening with their supports. Like it could very
10
easily
seconds
be
remaining.
like they have flexibility in all four of their picks, right? We could go around and talk about
5
each iteration,
seconds
but I think
remaining.
right now they just want to pick a boss carry that has the ability to have forward momentum and some type of game ending impact. Of course, Drow would have been a really nice pick, but it's now banned out. So, what is the pick here? Morphling could be good if you have a good lane and then you have high tempo, but because yeah,
Feels like that's too
it equals
focused on the
awkward.
gyrocopter element, right? Like, yeah, I can get his flat cannon, but
But it
wouldn't
just
they
secures your
benefit
late
from
game.
being
That's what I was
fast?
thinking of.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like a hero that allows them to play fast out of the lanes. I think Jug's still bad, even with the
I
recent
yeah,
tweaks.
I want to. I guess I want to adapt my wording here. Is when I say fast, I mean like play fast with punishment, but still the ability to play mid to late. So if they pick a core here that has a really early timing, when they try and go high ground into this gyro, into this ravage, into this like leaner potentially with an axe or some type of damage source, you'll die a couple times. It's really hard for to win the game. So I think they want a hero that can allow them to take early fights and then still scale into mid to late game. So for example, this Morphling would be able to take those early fights, become the gyro, or even instead of that,
Now
scratch that. Let's go
selecting
for Bloodseeker and
heroes.
all out aggression.
I mean, this is a hero that scales quite well, though, right? Like, Bloodseeker is surprisingly scary when you get into those late game scenarios and everyone's 5-6 slot.
Well, especially because you got the Magnus. It's a classic combo. You saw Nip ran it, I believe, not in the minor, or at least in the some qualifiers previously. It was always Mag Bloodseeker, Mag Bloodseeker, where you got the Empower to enable the Farmer Bloodseeker, the Skewer to pair with the Rupture. Like you've got a lot of combos coming out from Empire, especially with the coil. So as soon as you coil someone, you can toss someone to break it, you can skewer someone to break it, you then rupture the same person, so you're now stunning them, doing lots of damage with rupture. Like they have a lot of potential to run over the opponent. The only issue is they do lack tower damage, where they have to rely on the empower and then maybe the items built from Bloodseeker and space on the map to be able to actually hit some of these objectives.
No, it's true that usually we see the Bloodseeker with the kind of mad combos, or TA, I think is another one. But I guess Templar Assassin would have been hard to run against the supports and the Gyrocopter, while it would be decent against Selena. But yeah, Bloodseeker just, it fits much better.
Oh yeah, they needed a way to kind of enable the rest of their team, and TAs were a bit too greedy, especially with the amount of team fight and control that they have on Radiant. Like Bloodseeker's a tempo setter, and it allows them. Like this is literally like it feels like a Hellraiser's esque draft, like all out aggression. But this time they just lack a little bit more, a little bit something to go into tower damage. But especially because the puck is a core, it's an off lane, you might be seeing a Blink Deso build, and that bridges the gap on the lack of tower damage they have. Because especially when you have the Deso, pair that with any enabled core, i.e., empowered Bloodseeker, you have that ability to suddenly smack down towers.
I even like something like a Veil early on for the puck this type of game, because you've got like the pure damage from the Rupture. Bat Rider uses that well as well. The tiny combo would definitely kill anyone at that stage. And the only hero that can actually deal with that at all that has some sort of dispel is Tidehunter, which he can't give to other heroes in his team.
Can confirm. Unless 7.25's out.
Hold on.
That'd be a
What
fat
are these
yikes.
changes? Unless suddenly you can enchant your own teammates. Sadly, not a thing.
I think a really really crucial thing here is just simply the what's the laning matchup. So top we've got Bloodseeker and we've got the support Bat Rider up against the Tidehunter and it's Treant. Sorry, Tidehunter.
Yeah, they're going to try and
said.
force.
Oh no, Lena's mid. Oh my god, I've lost it. Hold on.
Yeah. I was about to say, you are right. They're doing the typical thing we see with Treants, right? Where you try and force a tri-lane scenario because this hero is a ridiculous bully if you can get a 3-on-3.
Yeah.
And they're definitely stronger than Empires, right? Because all they really have is acute toss play potential. So, runes. All right, who's missing out on one? Looks like it is going to be Free going the way of Empire, actually.
Oh no. He did not respect the grasp.
Tatake? Buddy? Nani? They get the final hit. They just need to keep vision. And it's a tree. So they do. Look at Bat Rider is just like so deep, annoying the Tide. They're like instantly, okay, so this is a Bloodseeker level 1. Let's just run it.
Have to respect the Ench tree. Their damage level 1 is extremely annoying, but Bloodseeker, it's a hero that fares well within lane against these heroes, especially when you have 1 point in Rage, 1 point in your W or Blood Rate, then you're able to easily heal up. But
oh,
disgusting. When you're against a tri-lane, Bloodseeker v tri-lane, not so fun. Bloodseeker v dual lane, a little bit more fun. But as soon as they get the kill top, instantly rotates away. Now the lane's secured. Killed him at the rune, killed him when he TP'd in. Bloodseeker now really out of lane. And some heroes on the cliff.
Yeah. It's okay. He found a creep while he was up there, so he at least got himself a little bit of gold, and he is now just a walking ward.
So they done the toss play level 1. So they tossed the creep up there at level 1 then, I assume?
Yeah, and then they sent someone up to keep it company.
Okay. It's cool to see that still in the game. Thanks, Valve.
Smart move as well, considering that, the Treant did just TP bot. So they made the best of a worse scenario, seeing as Bloodseeker suffered from the start of that. Meanwhile, in the mid, Iceberg is destroying Lightless right now.
Yeah, it's Iceberg's on one of his top 3 heroes right now, so I expect him to do really well. He's a pretty good laner, coming from the CIS region. Hasn't really had many results, but his first 10 minutes are normally good.
Yeah, he was on the rise to fame, I think it's over a year ago now.
Reference Epicenter, right?
Yeah, he was like, that was where everyone was like, okay, this kid is the next CIS star. and it never came to fruition.
The Great Plateau. Oh,
Silent.
silent buddy, what's happening?
Druid's trying to help. Well, I grasped. Good job, bud. That moment where you just see him TP back to Taz. Like, think about it like this, Gyro. You made sure that I could TP away without being avalanched. God bless. Oh, and this is an Invis rune on the Tiny. It should be spotted out, though. They had the ward, so Iceberg will just back away.
Just 16 for 4 on Lena, 11 on Mag. It's a nice, healthy start, to say the least.
And that's why it's so good that he had this ward that spotted that Invis rune, because that could completely turn this lane around. So now he'll just play defensively. This should make it obvious to Empire that there must be a ward on the bot rune. If he actually hangs back.
Slap a scan out, mate. Slap a scan. Or you don't even need to, actually. Don't waste your scan. Just stand there. Yeah, keep it up.
Yeah, because he had the ward on the bot rune, so he knew.
Farming from afar. The discipline coming from this man.
It's like, well, I've got XP advantage, and there's definitely a Tiny here waiting. So that's less XP for the Magnus. I'll just wait it out.
Under the pressure of 2 heroes, gets 2 out of 4 CS.
Not bad. 24 to the 14-3 still. Meanwhile, Bloodseeker, he's getting a few now. 9-2, but tied with the 15-6. And the bot lane, Mastery chased on 2. Balanced hero, Waning Rift being a mini blink is totally reasonable. He will be able to get away because he has the illusory orb now.
Oh no, Iceberg, buddy. And then the...
Oh, no. He didn't trust
just out
himself.
of range there to slap it.
Who needs trees when you can just run them down? Oh no. Very far, and that'll be a back away.
Alright, I'm kind of happy that Always Wanna Fly didn't actually commit there. You know,
he's quite slow.
Could have been
a
fat outplay, yeah.
Kadara almost goes down, but has himself to heal back up. Hench's a fun hero these days.
Have you seen Batrona's name? Kadaru. Tier B+ player. He's being modest. He is keeping himself in a realistic bracket,
he's not being like over the top, right?
He's just stated he's like the best tier 2 player out there, I think. Because B+ is, probably tier 2. That's what he's saying right now. Which we'll find out at the end of this game.
It's like people who put LFT in their name. They're not giving you the info. He's at least providing that extra piece so you know what you're looking into.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you didn't want a tier A player,
this is a tier C def, or is it?
Especially with those salary caps potentially coming in. You can't go for all tier A players. You got to... Oh, God.
Hey, this is the thing with tier B. Sometimes you're tier A and sometimes you're tier C. You can never be fully in one. That's just not the way grading works.
This is a pretty solid laning phase coming from Radiant. I think one of the key takeaways is actually the movement made from Tiny actually made the Puck solo against this Gyro tree, which it's not the best where they can actually punish his Puck. Puck excels when you have a permanent hero in your lane playing behind, especially when it's a core Puck. The Puck by itself isn't really that strong, so I think the Tiny movements were kind of underwhelming, especially when they had this ward to scout it out. They did get the D ward, as you can see on the minimap now, on that kind of Radiant ward on the bot rune, but the Tiny's movements are handicapping his Puck.
That's true. Like, Puck is this type of hero that can punish you in those 2-on-2 scenarios because you have so much mobility. But when you're all left 2v1, there's no aggressive play. The only time you're using those spells is to run away or, as we've seen already, die.
Yeah, and I think it's just the awkward thing as well when you have it's just such an extremely solid lane of tree Gyro, tree tanky hero can frontline a little bit, doesn't really have armor but can at least sit at the front, and then you have this Gyro big damage. Puck Tiny, it's potentially a little bit outmatched, but he's just gonna run away, right? Maybe not.
No, if they get the vision. Oh, there's the flow, and gives General the kill.
Yeah, this move from FlyToMoon, having this tri-lane for the first like 30 seconds of top lane, really put Bloodseeker at a disadvantage.
And that kind of ripples, right? Because we mentioned already that Puck doesn't want to be left alone. Can't afford to, really, and he should have the phase in time. There we go.
Oh.
Imagine if he got that wrong.
What a skilled dodge there. A tier A+.
Wow! There you go. That's what you're looking for.
Oh my god, what a phase shift.
We got it. We're on the BTS channel. It's relevant. But, no, the interesting part, I think, with their draft is that Bloodseeker relies on the other lanes to aggress, right? And when you leave the Puck alone, the Puck is never aggressing, and you have this Tiny who needs to connect the rotations. But he's never winning the attrition battle.
With a haste rune, hold up.
Going in. And he's a kill. And this is the problem, right? Like, you're in the situation where, because there's no attrition warfare being won in your other lanes, this Bloodseeker is always crippled. He's already behind. He's never getting the buff from his passive to do anything.
It's just not an easy lane to play. You have Tide, this front line, deals with melee heroes, Ench from behind, throwing out every impetus. Like, the Bloodseeker just doesn't have a place. And this play from Iceberg was so good. He pushed out the mid lane, so there was no creeps. He then instantly TP top, used the haste rune to get the kill, and then run back to mid. So rather than using the haste rune to run top and maybe lose his window, he just instantly is like, I'm TPing, getting the kill, and then resetting. So really good from Iceberg, just to really get as much out from the map as he could. And then from downtown, poor old Batrider dies again.
So it's like, what's that? The CS on the lane? Oh, here.
Oh, the combos.
Oh, no. They get Lila stay out. Can he run away, though?
He has a wand and a fairy fight. Is he maybe killing the tiny?
He gets the kill.
And a wand. Ooh. Yep.
All right. 1 for 1.
That's... Even though he died, it's still kind of worth it.
All right. So apparently, Lightless is a lot more impressive. But I guess the real question is, with those KDA comparisons, apparently only one game played by Iceberg on Lina in the last, did I say 3 months?
I don't know the basis of it. Is that only for this tournament? Is that
that's
for
got to
all
be,
games
right?
played?
But it said 3 months. I'm like, what? No.
You know what? Let's just accept it. He's never lost on Lina. Only one game though, but...
It's 100% win rate. We went over this before, T. It still counts.
Yeah. I was kind of worried that FlyToMoon would have an issue playing the mid game, but then it kind of fully slipped my mind the power of an Ench, and such a good start to the game from FlyToMoon. Like they had to crush their lanes. So
yeah, once you're over that hump, it's pretty straightforward because like Tide, he's unapproachable. Gyro's gonna farm. Lina can pick off in the mid game easily, and this Ench becomes the right click core if you survive the lane in staging tap, just because of the nature of impetus. Ravage, without hesitation. General moves in, Anchor Smash, and James gone as well.
Yep. Very good move from General. Yeah, currently, FlyToMoon are making all the right moves around the map. Every TP has turned into kills, into pressure, and by Hope are just kind of playing on the back foot right now.
Oh, Slayer finds another courier.
Living up to his name. Hey!
He's going to have to change it. CS is actually not for, creep score. It's for courier Slayer.
Wow. Very smart.
All in all, so far, Iceberg, despite that death on him, yeah, he did get the kill on Tiny, but Mag should have got a lot from that. He's still over 1,500 gold behind the Lina. So maybe his win rate in KDA was a little bit deceptive up to this point, because you'd expect the Mag to start to pick up and accelerate at this point, but it feels like Lina should be able to even up and keep that distance between them in terms of net worth.
The issue is just simply the area of the map that FlyToMoon's playing in. The Ench was just in the dire jungle for the last 2 to 3 minutes, right? Killing couriers, having presence. So naturally, the Mag, after playing the mid lane, will move towards his jungle to try and get some farm. If the Ench is there, you just can't farm there.
Oh, James has been chased down too. We'll be able to get the bounty room. There's a rocket coming for your face, bud. He'll move back in time, though. They have no interest in diving tier 1 towers, which really doesn't sound like CIS Dotes to me.
Yeah, this Batrider support, I think, has really not had any showing at all. I think when you see the Bat pick into this Gyro Enchant tree, I was ready for such a big core performance, the ability to just have pressure in a lane. Like, you can just really disrupt the farm of a Tide, of a tree, or not tree, sorry, of an Ench. It can just do so much pressure, and when you put it on a 5, it's very underwhelming, especially when your Bloodseeker gets killed twice in the start of the game. So
that's the thing. It's not a comeback type support, right? It's like you pick this because you expect to be ahead in the lanes.
He's gonna have an awkward game. He's gonna really be questioning what he's doing in the game right now. Like, is he just a walking ward? What's he gonna provide? Can he maybe farm the jungle? But the Mag wants to farm there. The Bloodseeker wants to farm there. So it's just an awkward spot.
Lasso, that's what he wants to be. He wants to be a killer as he's trying to get rid of the Slayer himself. Movement in. 4 heroes are here. Will be a turnaround. There isn't any level 6 who always want to fly, so no chance to use the overgrowth, but they chase them to Kadara at least. So
just running away from his team to force him away. Perfectly fine.
Question is, can FlyToMoon turn this into a tower push? They rotate a lot of heroes here for this, so General will move in.
This will never be a tower push. This will just be a simple, we got to kill, reset. They have Ravage up, you have to respect the Ravage. Their Empire are in no way ready to take a 5-on-5 team fight. The only time that they can is if all of FlyToMoon run into a choke point, get coiled, get some skewer going, some real combo, like highlight plays, If they don't make these big plays, and just chill, farm. There's no need to rush it. You have an empowered core. You just need to recoup the start of your game. Like they've held it to a 4K lead for the last 3 to 4 minutes, so there isn't getting like crazy ahead for FlyToMoon. So it's a slow, chill game now for Empire. Get get maybe one item on each of your cores, then go for a smoke play, utilize some vision that you get out earlier, and play from there.
And the point would be that while FlyToMoon did rotate all those heroes to mid lane, the reason they don't push in is because, well, we have these heroes that can farm jungle. We control the outer lanes. More importantly, let's do what we see people do all the time with Enchantress when it's a support role. Give it the mid lane, leave it static, and just let Ench get an early item pick up and all of a sudden be out of control because her damage is insane.
You will become a turret. Throwing damage from afar.
Throwing or firing missile? It's more like firing a missile, to be honest.
Just doing something, you know? Just
you know what you're really doing? You're praying that you get your hands on the Enchanted Quiver.
They're getting the one free kill on the map.
Oh, you know, his Monarch name is always want to die, so he's just living up to expectations. And, oh no, that illusory orb. That's not where you want to be, and he's just gone. Spit in the face. See you later, Mastery.
Yeah, unfortunately, placed it away from the lane and not back into the lane, but got the kill. It's whatever. It's not the best, that's for sure.
Well, you rotate.
And this Enchantress is pulling away from the puck as well on farm. Like, the Bloodseeker only has 500 more gold than the Pause 4 Enchantress. And this is because the movement around the map, right? The Tide had the good solid lane, took the early tower, moved to mid, took fights. Enchantress, meanwhile, just kept farming up, playing aggressive, killing couriers. So they're really distributing the farm across all their heroes right now. Obviously, not Tree. Tree's just a 5. He's not allowed farm.
He doesn't need it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
He's strong enough
for that. It's just the dismantling of roles. People will think of 1 through to 5 as such a hard fixed thing where it's like 1 has to farm, 2 has to make space, 3 has to die, you know? Like that's such an old classic kind of theory where in reality it's like 1 farms, 2 space, 3 and 4 kind of share farm, and then you have these 4 kind of, you have 1 big core, 3 semi-cores all playing together, making space, and yeah, it's...
Oh, fight might be coming. Lasso is out. Always want to fly, being dragged towards the high ground. Holds the overgrowth to get silenced up. And now trying to move in for the RP play and be connected to the 1. Now the overgrowth there. Follow up on the side. Meanwhile, James going to go down. He's trying to toss them away. Buyback will come out from Tiny. Trina is dead, but they lost the Bloodseeker as well. And Silent is hunting, looking for more. We'll be able to get Kadara low. And it doesn't look like he's got the mana to be able to get himself out of this, as he will also fall. So that's 3 dead on the side of Empire, 1 buyback, and all you get for it is a measly Trin worth the least in the entire game.
It was such a poorly coordinated assault there. The Batrider makes the jump. His coil's coming from the right side. You've got the Magnus coming from the left. The Tide instantly sees that the fight's being taken in 2 locations, chucks himself in the middle of it, gets Ravage off, and prevents anyone comboing into the coil. So really good positioning from the Tide Hunter, but also really bad execution from Empire.
Rupture out. Iceberg, it's a mild tick. He'll TP away, and the skewer stops him. It was a little bit greedy. Now then a little bit of trouble. Anchor Smash comes out, reducing that damage a lot. The cooldown in, the Blood Riot as well. Okay, a little bit too deep. Tadaki is going to go down though. Let's will the puck, and on the side, they're chasing on James. Slayer says, me versus the world. Let's go, tiny boy. He might be tanky, but pure damage hurts. Once again, 3-for-1 trade.
I think that's now 2 fights in a row where they kind of overextend and get poor execution. So I just described that previous fight, and then this fight they just take here. They sure Radiant they overstay their welcome. They do get that little jump onto Lena, which is fine. They get the kill, but then it's after the kill they then go for more, continue diving. You're 8k behind at 15 minutes. There is no way you are able to continue and sustain this type of dive against a Tree and Ench. These heroes that, if you can't connect to them, will do damage to you. And once you've used all your kind of catch spells to kill Alina, barely, there's no way you can continue the fight. So
at the end of the day as well, especially you're still diving at tier 1. That's just an entry point for anyone who happens to not be in the neighborhood. Like, you are getting so deep out of way. Like, even if you had additional buybacks you could commit, you're nowhere nearby as you no longer have your tier 1 tower. Hence why it's so valuable to especially keep this mid tower alive at this stage of the game.
Like, if Empire were, it feels like maybe 2k difference, and sure, this dive probably leads to many more kills in some place on the map, but because of how poorly your laning phase has gone, Empire need to adapt their playstyle a little bit and make sure that their team fights are really like perfect. You know, it's coil into skewer into rupture, or lasso connecting onto that tree to prevent that early overgrowth. You know, they need to have a clear-cut way of approaching a team fight and executing it. They can't just kind of throw spells out because, oh look, I've seen a hero here, I've called him, lol. Mag, you here, buddy? No, I'm not. Oh well, That's this fight lost. You know, they have to be on the same page, especially when they're so
Oh,
far behind.
this wraparound. General has the Ravage. He's coming in behind them. Puck has already done the bot lane to Iceberg solo, and now they're in trouble in the mid lane. They don't even know it yet. Lasso, they're actually trying to find the pick off themselves, but they might regret this. They need to get out quickly. There's going to be a split chase as they pursue forward. General is not going to use the Ravage just yet. And he won't use it just for a tiny. They should be able to just chase him down at this rate. LSA is off the mark. He's juking him well. Cooldown thrown out as well as there's another fight going on. They'll be able to find that corner back rider finally. Silent does it alone. And General, he's diving in here. He has got the Ravage, but he's not going to throw it out. He's like, I
just
dare
have
you.
no damage. They just have no damage. They have no place in this game right now. Of how poorly their lanes went, they have, like, they can't do anything. Whatever FlyToMoon want to do, they can do. No punishment.
Yeah, it's
And
that
on top of
case.
that,
Like,
they get a Philosopher's Stone. This tree
well,
is now
in
going to get some
fairness,
gold.
both sides got a philosopher, so it's not ridiculous, but yeah, when you're ahead,
Still
that feels
nice,
good.
yeah.
Ravage,
Oh, General,
he has a
mate.
one.
It's
You don't want to
Ravage.
do this. Not like this. This is how things go bad. Ravage comes out, Ank Smash as well on the side. They're just scaring away the rest of
Fortified
the
to
team.
keep the creep
That is
alive
the
from the
defensive
TP.
coil. And as you said, the 4-5 allows Silent to get in. There is a missile coming straight for Lightless's face, and Lightless is ironically appropriate because the lights might be out if they can get on top of him here. Cooldown's there. He's already used that skewer, has got the RP, but they can stay far enough away. Bloodbright trying to away. Laguna, he's gone. Down already. The RP is completely whiffed. That is a screw it R press if I've ever seen one. He might hit R twice more at this rate just to let them know the game is over because it's a 10k net worth lead. They're struggling to find the kills, and FlyToMoon just go wherever they want.
These lads are collapsing under the pressure. They were meant to be the aggressors.
Like they're being aggressed upon again. Bloodseeker just gone. Silent will live. No. Who did he living armor? Was that wasn't on Silent, right? I think he living armor in Iceberg.
Yeah.
Oh no. I think that may have been a misclick on a portrait there.
They are pretty close to each other, but he dies. Sure, they're still going to take this tower, 10k ahead. There's the Magnus just RP'd the air, bless him. And yeah.
He's just testing buttons, you know. He's got a new keyboard. He wants to make sure it's good while it's still in the return policy period.
But no, I just think it's just the way that like I think 3 fights in a row now, Empire have just shown that they're just throwing spells out and they're trying to play their draft as if it's an even game. Like you have to adjust your playstyle, and like they had this high ground vision when they saw the tide, when they got ruptured. Like sure, it's a fine play, but when you're 10k behind, a rupture on a tide doesn't lead to instant tide kill. It's like you have to be able to rupture him into something else. And when you throw your spells from such a distance and they have an ability to disengage, there's no way Empire are going to be able to get these kills. So they really need to slow themselves down. I think they're getting way too hasty and drawn into these fights. Like FlyToMoon, they're just doing this whole, we're really far ahead, we're going to fight you. And Empire, they're kind of falling victim to this need to fight. Like, you watched True Sight, right? You saw how Liquid said, oh, look, you know that OG's just going to fight us, right? Don't get drawn into it. And then game 2 and game 3, they're like, guys, we're getting drawn into their fight. What's happening? It's like, same thing's happening here. Empire's getting just baited into their own, into FlyToMoon's aggression.
Yeah, it's the classic one, right? Like where we're so comfortable with playing ahead. You know, usually you end up in the scenario where you will say those sort of things and immediately 2 minutes later, like, why are we freaking here, guys? Like, we literally just done this same fight 2 minutes ago. It ended badly then. Can we just like farm up a BKB or some counter? Because you look at the lineup of FlyToMoon, BKBs are the answer, right? If you can get them on Empire. A BKB on the Mag, a BKB on the Bloodseeker, and then you'll be ready to fight.
Yeah, I think BKBs help, but also not being 10k down at 20 minutes from how bad your laning phase went also helps. But
Definitely, but the BKB is the recovery
yeah.
point now that you are halfway up crap screen.
The BKBs allow you to kind of bridge the awkward gap of how aggressive FlyToMoon are being. I think right now, the easiest way to word it is simply just Empire need to wall up an area of the map, push out some lanes, force FlyToMoon to play aggressive, and then take a real team fight properly. You know, try and get this coil, try and get its initial jump. Like if you jump the gyro with a rupture and a skewer, he's gonna die. He doesn't have the amount of items right now to really survive these moves. So
Kidaro? I will say it again. Nani? What are these plays? I don't.
he was just trying to skip the wave. It wasn't great, but the Ravage hits.
No mastery, Avalon.
But is it, he's just gonna get out though. It's
Yep.
no follow up to the Ravage.
General's like, okay, well, Ravage been used. Maybe now we look towards Roche or something.
yeah, that fully prevents the ability to make any more forward moves, but the next move will just be simply to Roshan. Empire can capitalize on the lack of a Ravage, maybe smoke up and try and take a fight. It is pretty
It's pretty
pretty
hard now
YOLO,
that you
but
don't have a shrine anymore.
especially with this is going pretty slow. You got the Vlads on the Tidehunter, level 18 Gyro, 16 no, level 18 Nina, sorry. They're going to be a little bit too late here, and they have all the wards
They're
in the
too
world
split.
FlyToMoon have set up here. Yep. The story of Empire.
Split, decisions split in
There
team
he goes,
fights.
trying to fight into vision.
Gone already.
Instant
Roche
buyback
secured.
though.
They have to fight. This is do or die. They feel like at this point, the BKB's going to run out soon onto this Lina. She is ruptured up. Dream Call, everything thrown on Iceberg because he's so goddamn tanky, but General throws them away.
Split.
They can't actually get him because this is the problem. When they're stacked, there's the Tide, there's the Gyro, and this Lina. Yep. She's not an easy kill anymore. You saw how much HP she had and how much she tanked at the start of that. And they're so scared of Iceberg that they throw literally every spell on him alone.
Yeah, with how poor the laning phase went, FlyToMoon accelerated their draft's timing. Rather than it being like a 25-minute timing, that mid-game timing, they brought it all the way back to a 10-minute timing just because how much they crushed the lanes. And then when you compare the two lineups, it's like Dire v Radiant. Like Dire can't fight Radiant when they get to this specific timing if they don't have items. They don't have the items, and of course they don't have the heroes. So FlyToMoon, if they continue this amount of pressure, as long as this puck doesn't continue this kind of skipping waves, but again they already have top wave, bottom wave pushing in as well. Radiant in such a solid position to take an early rack.
Yeah, just puck showing Kadara how to cut a wave without dying. But what does it really count for when James is being pummeled down by General? This Deso causes so much pain. And Kadaro, oh, this is just rinse repeat at this stage.
FlyToMoon are so far ahead. Like, you've got one hero showed top, one hero pushing out mid, 3 heroes in the enemy jungle, and Empire is still not able to capitalize on even it being a 3v5. Of course, you don't want to take the fight there because you use your spells, you then can't defend high ground. But it's like, you can't even farm the lane next to your tower against 3 heroes that are on that high ground. It's
the case in point of like,
spot for Empire now.
You know you can't do anything there, and if you're trying to split push, you should be deeper cutting the wave. So why even be there? Because if you die that close to your base, look how long Kadara is dead for. Look how close they are to your base.
And then the skill
hold
up.
Deep in,
all right.
Silent has got that eggs to work with though. The Dream Call's been thrown out, Ravage as well, but it doesn't quite catch everyone here. Clips aside, Puck just about gets away. Mastery.
But they have the rupture as well.
Yeah, but living armor. Silent has got the BKB. Oh no, the toss back. He didn't use it quick enough.
Okay,
He's gonna go down. Dead for 50 seconds. Laguna will get revenge on a James, but mistakes being made there. Silent a little bit too greedy, not using that BKB.
Not respecting the combos that Empire do have.
Well, it's Lightless not respecting them because he just ran out again. At least this time he won't use the RP, but now it's Take. He's in trouble. He's still so far behind. He doesn't feel strong, and they'll just run him down and kill him off. Always want to fly dive deeper because he's dragged him by the lasso, but whoop-de-doo. Trian is dead for 70 seconds, but you just gave them your racks.
Yeah.
Or did you?
Empire demonstrating what their draft could do if the game was a little bit closer, but 16k behind at 25 minutes. There's really not much to say other than you want to split push, but you really can't because you're so far behind. You have only the Bloodseeker can throw out a Blood Right just to, maybe try and push it slightly, but it's not going to cleanly push it. You got the Puck who can, the Tiny has to do have a toss. So it's awkward for Empire right now. Like, their whole draft was built around decent laning phase, go even, high tempo, force the objective, force something on the map. But they've just been on the back foot the entire time, completely outplayed in the laning phase.
But the good news is that they didn't actually lose the rats at the end because the glyph, or the Tiny rather, clearing the wave was enough with their own glyph that FlyToMoon back off. The concern is you have to have a good RP next.
They're so far ahead now. Like this mid push and this defense, like it forces Empire to feel like they have to gravitate towards each other and move as a unit. Like they just have to become slightly more coordinated in an attempt for a comeback. Like it's dark days for Empire.
But this is the thing, it feels like maybe the best thing you can do is try and actually make a play on their side of the map because they probably wouldn't have it warded up. They've gone a bit defensive after they lost the Aegis.
Like their wards are really aggressive. They have the potential to utilize a good smoke and maybe get a pick off. But FlyToMoon will have TPs up. They'll happily rotate to this fight. They're not going to just allow a pick off to be a clean pick off. And I think to dent through a 17k gold lead, Empire are going to have to hit a big combo on the high ground once, maybe twice, to maybe get themselves to see through to the next Roshan. But it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's so hard right now for them.
Hail Mary is one way of putting it, but you know, Mary involved in a miracle with Jesus, and they're going to have to pray to Jesus they can pull this one off. Nice blink away in time.
Nice.
Because they're going to need 2-3 big team fights to even up the net worth at least.
Okay,
And the bot lane, there you go, Iceberg. BKB Laguna is going to bring... No, he gets the kill in return. It ends up being a trade. Longer time dead, but now Puck in the base. They're already hitting your base right now.
Yeah. You've got a Deso Vlad's Tide Hunter. The push potential is so insane. Like, they used all their spells to kill Lina. Lina just buys back. Doesn't care. What are you going to do? You can't RP me. You can't rupture me. Like, you can't even coil me. Your Puck's dead. Like, this is the exact same issue as the previous game. You use your cooldowns, you die. When you're so far behind, if you're cooldown dependent on timings, the game's just tough.
Ravage, they beat them in. They thought they could get fainted on Slayer, and immediately they just give him more kills. There's a double kill already, and it looks like
that's all she wrote. That's
away.
it. Like, they're gonna take Megas and/or end the game right here. There's no buybacks on Empire. They got Vlad's Deso. Yeah, 21k up, 27.
Close
28 minutes. Sorry.
Stop writing. This is short enough to be a kid's story, as it's just clean cut. 23k net worth lead. 28 minutes in. Empire will not hit the RR, but maybe that's just because their keyboards are broken, as Magnus showed us earlier. As this is the tier 4s falling, and soon it'll be the throne. You'll have the Batrider up. That's all you have. But they're reluctant to say it. So,
yeah.
FlyToMoon will force
Fair
it
play
out
for them to sticking in it. I rate it.
Rupture.
Try and give it one more go.
Lasso. Everything, but no, it breaks straight away. They do get the kill. Maybe this is enough, but the buyback is there. He can just come back. Silent is not hesitating. He says hit buildings. Ignore everything else. I'll cool down to slow them down, but we don't care about them. We care about easy wins, as the Bloodseeker almost dies to Slayer alone. This is the power of Enchantress support. This is the power of FlyToMoon. And this is how you get yourself one game already. Slayer 4 staffs out after being cutely skewered in. Game 1. FlyToMoon take it.
Yeah, honestly, this game, it boiled down to the laning phase. The drafts in terms of what they could provide. If the Batrider maybe was a core, it might have better presence, but the Bloodseeker dying in the rune, the Bloodseeker then grinding back to lane, getting tri-lane, get instantly killed again, then that rotation away, forcing it to a 2-1-2 from Radiant. Like, there's no way this Bloodseeker can match up against an Ench and a Tide when you've already died twice. If he hadn't had those 2 deaths, then sure, you could probably play the lane, you can naturally heal up from the Ench aggression, you can exist. And then from that existence, you move into some type of map presence. But those initial moves that completely, like, took away the Bloodseeker and Batrider in that top lane, it just opened up the map for Tide and Ench to have a free game. And then from that, you have the Tree Gyro, a really solid lane, the Tiny making moves onto mid because he was leaving his Puck alone, trying to get kills on Iceberg, and that defensive ward. Iceberg didn't die from these rotations, which meant not only did he farm mid and crush the Magnus, he didn't die from the Tiny, which meant the Puck was by herself the entire time, underleveled against the Gyrocopter. So FlyToMoon crushed pretty much every lane from the misplays of Empire, and then turned that into some Death Ball that Empire couldn't fight against because their draft didn't do well against Death Ball, and FlyToMoon just hit their timing so much earlier because of this, like, complete outplay.
Yeah, it shows you the ripples of Dota. One small thing leads to another, right? Like that kill on Bloodseeker, the forced rotation back. Then, like you said, you left the Puck alone, so then Puck suffering. Bloodseeker requires the other lanes to be aggressive to do stuff itself, and all of a sudden the game's actually...
Exactly.
And you know what's out of control? The bullying on this little mini Roshan. Short break, guys, and then we'll be back for game number 2. We might have a quick day at this rate, because that was dominant in game 1 from FlyToMoon.